Welcome to That's Entertainment with No, Not Them. I'm Christopher Brown, and
I'm Michael Nichols.
no, we are not those ones. And at this point, our names is less than an introduction and more of a legal disclaimer. Now, we have a huge show today. Huge show. And by huge, I mean Hollywood has once again looked at the state of the world and said, you know what this moment needs? More nonsense. Today, we're talking about the Oscars, the winners, the losers, and yes, of course, the snubs, or as I like to call it, quote, famous people finding out that being adored by millions still isn't enough. Now, every year, the Academy reminds us that no matter how successful you are, somewhere there's still a room full of people in expensive clothing deciding your night not quite moisturized enough for greatness. And the winners always act shocked at these events. They open the envelope, hear their names, and suddenly perform the greatest role of their performance. Person who really definitely didn't rehearse this was going to happen. Then there are the losers, which is a harsh word, but it's award season, baby. And well, let's be honest, you're either a genius, a disgrace, or a meme by midnight. And the snubs, oh, the snubs are my favorite because nothing unites America faster than people who have not watched all the nominees becoming constitutionalist scholars on what the Academy owes cinema. Now we're also diving into the news that Val Kilmer's AI post-death movie, because apparently Hollywood has decided the best way to honor human creativity is to remove the human part. We used to worry about robots would be taking over factories. Now they're taking over prestige biopics. And let's be honest, studio executives heard the phrase ethical concerns and responded the same way vampires reacted to sunlight. They don't want a conversation. They just want sequel rights. Then there's The Bachelorette, which has canceled a season. A tragic loss for romance, rose farmers, and men who describe themselves as, quote, an entrepreneur because they once ordered ring lights in bulk. Somewhere a mansion sits empty, a hot tub goes unused, and 28 men with podcast equipment are being forced to seek attention the old-fashioned way, online, through Bumble or Grindr. Now, the cancellation is real blow. Where else are we supposed to watch adults fall in love through the powerful bonding experience of group dates designed by a former camp counselor and a minor demon? We're also stepping into the manosphere. Yes, the manosphere, that magical corner of the internet where every guy who failed ninth grade biology now thinks he can redesign civilization. It's an incredible place. Every video is titled something like Why Modern Society Fears Alpha Truth. And the thumbnail is always a man pointing at a graph he absolutely does not or even comprehend understanding. The manosphere is basically what happens when self-help seminar, a gaming headset set, and a resolved feeling of all move into a studio apartment together. And finally, to restore our faith in performances, timing, and the human soul, we're counting down the top 3 Catherine O'Hara performances, which is impossible because Catherine O'Hara has never given a bad performance in her life, in my personal opinion.
True.
She doesn't act so much as arrive, elevate everyone around her, and leave the rest of the cast looking like community theater volunteers who've won a raffle. Now, Michael, we have a lot to dive into. Are you excited? And were you excited for my long-winded, totally acceptable introduction of this episode?
It was long. I fell asleep and woke up and you were still going. I'm like, all right, that's a heck of a journey we went on.
It's a journey that we all need to go on because at the end of the day, what kind of journey doesn't start with a long-winded rant like Lord of the Rings?
I was just about to make a Lord of the Rings joke and you stole it from my mouth. Now we're fighting.
Woo! We are fighting, but we did our fighting last episode on our YouTube exclusive show.
Did we?
We didn't. It was the most agreeable, disagreeable, agreeable show that I think you and I have ever put together around the Oscars. Now the Oscars have come and gone, and yes, unfortunately, Chris was the loser once again by one vote. One vote, and I would have tied Michael. 2 votes, I would have actually superseded him. If I would have went with Golden and I would have went with One Battle After Another for Best Picture, I would have won, but I
You would have
did.
won.
So, Michael, what were your thoughts on this year's Oscars? Was there any snubs or any big surprises?
I no, I wouldn't say there was really any surprises. I think that I'm a little
I think there
annoyed at
was.
myself. Oh, I'm annoyed at myself because I knew Sinners was not winning director and best picture, but I had delusionally convinced myself, no, it's definitely got it. And in the back of my head, I'm like, it's not it. One Battle After Another's winning everything. Everything's about that movie. I just should have if I had picked that, would have been in a better spot. I think the biggest, I guess, shock for me was the documentary. I don't understand how The Perfect Neighbor did not get it. But then also, I'm fairly certain the Academy said, "Ooh, that one's about Putin. Let's give it that," as they've done the last few years. So that was again, I should have known.
So the biggest snub surprise for me at the Oscars was best casting. Now, I had Sinners
Mm,
pegged to win this, and when they announced that One Battle After
yeah.
Another had won this, after the actor awards gave Sinners best casting, I was like, nope, I know that best picture is going to go to One Battle After Another. At that
I did the
moment,
same thing.
and I was like, nope, this is going to be a year where One Battle After Another does take the top awards and it's not going to switch up last minute. Now, I knew Best Picture, Best Director was going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson because it was like literally the clear frontrunner. I was hedging my bets with Ryan Coogler as well, but at the end of the day, I had to go with Paul Thomas Anderson because I think he gave a better performance as a director in that role, but it is here nor there. Now, when you also talk about the Putin documentary, I agree with you. I kept forgetting that the Oscars love that type of bait. They love the type of
Hmm.
bait where it's, hey, look, it's Putin and attacking this one small little person, this man, this unknown man. So you're right. That was not a surprise, but it is a shock that I didn't dictate what I was going to, how I was going to vote because it's Putin. If you want to seem pro-America, you vote for the one movie that is literally anti-Russia.
Yep. I was sitting there so mad at myself when casting went to uh One Battle After Another. I went, I just lost Best Picture and Best Director. And in the back of my head, I'm like, if I had just gone with my gut and like just said, nope, nope, this is winning. Let's not hope for we're not going to get an upset. If I had really been like, there's not if I had really stuck true to that, I would have probably gotten I would have almost had a perfect score because I think casting I always felt was going to Sinners. But like the Putin one, I'm like, I should have known. I should have known. I considered that one too for that reason. And I said, no, Hollywood had to watch them all. They definitely made their mind up on this. No, it was just a journey that I went on. And I probably would have had a much better score had I just trusted the algorithm that you always hate on.
So here's the question about the one award, and I think it's best documentary short feature, and that is the tie
Yes.
that happened. Now, this is the tie. Now, you and I, we were back and forth on Oscar night talking about why this happened or what happened here. And I kept on thinking about this since we chatted, since the Oscars and where we are today. Are we going to start seeing more ties because people aren't going to be watching every single one of these awards or these nominated films? Because I think that is the reason why we got a tie this year because most people didn't get to see all the films, so therefore they couldn't vote in this year's Academy Awards. If you were an Academy voter, I guess that's the word I'm looking for because my mind's not working right now. Do you think more ties are going to happen because the pool is going to get less open and it's going to be more condensed and you're going to see a lot less people voting in certain categories?
My first question is, how are they really dictating who has seen everything and who hasn't? Like, do they have to like log it when they're watching something, or is it just by like word of mouth honesty?
Don't you
Because
know people in Hollywood who can ask these questions? These are the questions you need to come prepared for there, Michael.
I know SAG voters. I don't know Academy voters.
Okay.
Or sorry, Actors Awards. I know Actors Award voters. I don't know the Academy voters. I would like to know Academy voters. I have a friend I'm hoping gets to be an Academy voter one day. I'm like, how do you judge that? How do you guess that? And I bet you that we might see some funky things happening the first few years while they figure out how to properly check this. Um, I'm just, I don't know. It could go either way. Yes, you're going to have more ties because people are actually watching the movies and aren't just going, oh, this is winning everything. Let me just check this one. I will say, though, this was fairly predictable. I mean, the fact that we got 20 and 19 respectively, and even looking at our own stuff, we're like, no, we should have trusted our gut and picked up the other two that we knew were going to go to that. Like it would like
I'm sorry. I just want Diane Warren to win so she never gets nominated again. Every time she gets
so
nominated from now on, I will literally only be voting for her. Plain and simple. I know I'll probably lose, but there's going to be that one time that I will win.
so Diane Warren, the reason she keeps getting there is because she has a lot of friends in the Academy. So they all nominate her just to keep giving her nominations, but they're not voting for her because it's not the best song. She needs to stop doing these small indie projects that are only getting nominated for her song, and she needs to pair up with like Chloe Zhou or Ryan Coogler, like one of these directors that Yorgos Lanthimos, Guillermo del Toro, one of these directors that is getting recognition, because then she will probably win. She just needs to get she needs
Now,
to get
now
attached
let's
to
let's
a
be honest.
project.
Like I don't know all 17 of the nominations that she's been nominated for, so maybe she has done that in the past. I don't
She
know.
has, she
So
fully
there you.
has. But it's just now, like in the modern, like especially post-COVID era, she's just hitching her ride to like wild, like little small projects that really only have a clear shot at her getting nominated because of her friends. And I think that that does a disservice not only to the Academy that we keep propelling this woman forward, but also just to her. I don't know. I
My,
want her to win, but also like I just don't see like she's not putting out anything that's like top, like you have to give it to her. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I it wasn't even second place this year. It was
that's true.
probably one of the last place ones I
Probably
would say.
snuck in there over something else, probably over
Yeah.
a Wicket song, which we all know those
Or
two.
or another K-pop Demon Hunter song. They may have submitted two and lost out because people wanted that one in. And because Golden isn't even the best song in that movie. I like Golden. Golden blew up everywhere. I'm not surprised it won. It wasn't even the best of the nominees. It just was the biggest international reach. The best one up there was the one from Sinners. I'll say it. I'll die on that hill.
So my follow up, and it's more about not the Oscars in general, but what happens after the Oscars. Does In-N-Out Burger have like a rule that if you win an Oscar, you have to come to their restaurant right afterwards? Because we saw Michael B. Jordan go to In-N-Out Burger after he won. This has happened numerous times before. Now, for Canadian viewers and listeners, you know that we do not have In-N-Out Burger, so we do not know what the whole hype is. But what is with In-N-Out Burger getting all this love right after? Is it where most of these actors started their careers in Hollywood?
It's just open late and they don't feed you well. And then you have to go to these parties. And so folks are like, what's something quick I can get that I like? And it just has become kind of like a meme. So the internet loves it seeing you watch and eat your In-N-Out burger with the statue. As someone who has had In-N-Out, the burgers are fantastic. The issue is the fries, not great. Sorry to In-N-Out, your fries are a letdown. Great. I love that they literally hand cut them fresh in the restaurant. They have the potato in hand that they're cutting. They're just not great. They're really just not great. You basically have to get them burnt for them to be passable. Um, but the burgers at In-N-Out are phenomenal, and In-N-Out pays very well. They're a very well-respected burger joint on the West Coast. I mean, they pay their people a very high living wage. If you're a manager there, you can make like $200,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Like it's insanity how well and how kind they are to their employees. And it's become a celebrity like meme. I win my
Okay.
Oscar and we're gonna eat with the statue at the In-N-Out. I can't remember who started that. It was after the pandemic, someone started that and said, let's
Paul
just keep
Giamatti.
doing this. Yes, for the holdovers.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, who started that? Why? So I think he just was like, I'm gonna do it because why not? And now everyone's like, oh, that's funny. Let's do it too.
So going back to the Oscars for a quick second before we turn to subject two, and that is on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank host Conan O'Brien's second outing? Because this year we saw the numbers go down. Not a lot of people tuned in compared to previous years. We're seeing the Oscars decline in ratings. But from a host perspective, how would you rate him? Because I think his opening montage was great. Him as Gladys was hilarious. I think it was great seeing him in different movies. I think he was able to carry it along. I think some of the jokes went over a lot of the audience's head. And I think some of the jokes were a little too, to be honest. But what's your thoughts on it?
I loved it. I don't think the jokes went over the audience head. I think the audience was like uncomfortable because he was calling out the nonsense that some of them have been doing. And I think folks in that room were like, okay, ha, 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 yeah, that's funny. I thought he was great. I thought he did a great job. I was pleasantly and happily surprised. I think from the opening montage onward, I think he kept it moving really nicely. I will say the thing I did not like was that for some reason, anytime a person of color won an award and tried to talk, we would cut them off with the music or shut the lights off on them. And the one time that they panned over to him with the lights on him while the people were still on stage trying to give their acceptance speech, he just stood there and smiled and was like, I'm not doing this. Y'all are gonna let them finish talking. I appreciated that he just stood there because he could have been like, all right, I guess we're gonna keep moving. Nope, he let the network look awkward. I think my biggest issue with the whole night was I don't know who was stage managing this show, but it was so poorly done. They kept turning the lights off on speakers. They kept playing the music randomly. Like we got to hear a whole bunch of folks talk 400 times, like at length for, and then other folks would get up there, say three words, and where they're playing the music to push them off the stage. I get it. Live action shorts, not one of the biggest ones, or documentary shorts, not one of the biggest ones. It's not their fault that you had that two movies got awarded. You have to give them ample time to talk because the first movie got extended time to talk, and the second movie got up there and said like, "Thank you so much," and the music's playing.
And
No,
Sean Penn didn't show up. We had two ties, so we had two 3-minute speeches. There was a lot of things going wrong with this broadcast, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I
yeah.
will ask the final sort of. So this is the 98th Academy Awards. There's two more left on ABC before it moves to YouTube on the 101st Academy Awards. Now, the joke at the end of the Academy Awards was Conan O'Brien will be the host for life, and then he went away like one battle after another. Do you think he's going to be back for the next 2 years, the last 2 years on network TV? Because he is one of those safe comedians, right? Like he doesn't ruffle feathers too much, but he doesn't sit there and cause too much of a controversy with some of the comments that he makes.
He's not Ricky Gervais,
Yeah.
and he's not Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
And those are the two polar opposites. You have Jimmy Fallon, who nothing, and you
Literally,
have
he
Ricky
walked on the
Gervais.
stage and you're like, ooh.
Yep. And Ricky Gervais comes out, and you're like, oh God, what's he gonna say? You don't know what he's gonna say. And it's gonna be foul, and you have to have that censor button ready. I think Conan O'Brien, if they're smart, they do use him a little bit more. I'm curious what happens when it moves to YouTube. I also, do we need a host? I mean, there was a number of times we didn't have a host and it was fine. I just think I just, I don't know.
And I was watching I was watching social media during the broadcast as well, and there was an artist, and I forget who it was, so I apologize. They said, "Can we stop having the like technical awards sit way in the back of the theater where it takes them 45 minutes to walk up to the stage?
Yeah.
Like when it was COVID and you literally just had seats and literally tables with individual awards people, that was perfect. And you know what? That's all you need, really. You don't need 1,000 people crammed into his theater for this show. You literally just need about 50 tables with all the people sitting around who have been nominated, and they're all close to the stage, and that would be good, in my opinion.
The Academy wants to go. They vote. They're the ones who get to, that make the awards happen and
Yeah,
that
then vote
vote.
for
So they
yourself to
also
get
get,
nominated.
no, but that's the thing. If I'm not in a movie this year, I'm still want to go to the biggest night in cinema.
Watch it at home like everyone else.
No, if I could be there, I would. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I'd go to the after parties. Let me be very honest. I'd do because that's what I did with the Grammys. We didn't go to the Grammys. We could have didn't want to go. You have to because you have to arrive before they arrive to the red carpet. So you basically have to arrive before the paparazzi's there, which means you have to get there like 3 hours early. You have to then sit there for like hours and hours and hours, and like getting to the restroom's really difficult too because you can't stand up in the middle of a broadcast. You have to. It's just a lot of like and you're the first ones in and then you're the last ones out because again you can't have the celebrities aren't going to wait, you have to wait. So like I would do it, but I would rather go to the after parties which are way more fun.
Well, let's turn to our second story because I feel like we've hit the hammer on the head a few times on the Oscars, but Hollywood has officially entered the quote, just because you can doesn't mean you should, but you definitely will era of their life. According to the AP, an AI rendered Val Kilmer will posthumously appear in a indie film called As Deep as the Grave. Kilmer had originally signed on before his death, but couldn't complete the role because of his health. So now the production is using a digital version of him with the blessing of his family and estate. And yes, his family is being compensated for the AI rendering. So this isn't just some random studio grave robbing operation with a ring light and a server farm. The filmmakers say that they followed SAG-AFTRA guidance, worked with Kilmer's estate and daughter Mercedes, and are presenting this as an ethical version of an AI performance. The movie itself has been stuck in post-production for years, and now it may become less known as a historical drama and more known as the film that made everyone ask, wait, are actors now immortal or just downloadable? And that's what's really weird here. Hollywood Crossroads. Part tribute, part demo, part existential crisis. Val Kilmer's final chapter was already tied to a digital voice recreation in Top Gun Maverick. So there is some real emotional context here, but still, every time the industry says it wants to honor legacy with AI, it sounds suspiciously like someone in a blazer found a new way to keep casting without dealing with human schedules. Mike, is this a respectful way to finish the work Val Kilmer wanted to do, or the beginning of Hollywood treating actors like franchises with cheekbones?
I can see it both ways because the only other instance that I can think of is 2009, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, when Heath Ledger had passed away, where they then cast three other people to play the same role and worked it into the story. These three other folks playing this role because it worked in regards to the story. They rewrote like the whole script for it. Like it worked. I'm not as familiar with this movie that he's in. I don't know if something like that would work. I think that it's hard because like you scrap the project that you maybe three-quarters of the way finished with and just to restart it or reshoot everything. Or like what do you do in that instance, especially something like this? So it's hard to because like I don't necessarily, especially the family's been compensated, the family agreed to it. It's a tricky situation because it's like, yes, this is his last film, this is the journey he was hoping to go on. I don't have a good answer here. I don't know what I would say or do. I would hate to get into this journey of now using AI for everything, and especially with how harmful to the environment AI is. I'm just I'm torn. I don't know. I don't really know what to think here.
So this is not the first time AI is being used to recreate somebody to put into a
Yeah.
show. So the most recent example, and it was talked about and debated on social media at the moment it happened, was the TV show, the Peacock Network show Ted, which is on Slack TV here in Canada. Ted is about the teddy bear who comes to life as a kid and he basically grows up and he becomes, it's by Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, the creator of American Dad, The Orville, so on and so forth. This was two movies starring Seth MacFarlane as the voice of Ted and Mark Wahlberg growing up and sort of the hilarity that ensues around a talking bear and his best friend from childhood. Now, in the show, I think it was episode 5 or 6 of season 2, AI was used on Seth MacFarlane to recreate him as Bill Clinton, the president of the 1990s. And there was a
Okay.
lot of controversies around this, around because they tried to do it with prosthetics, they tried to do it with CGI, but nothing would work. So they used AI instead, and it created a very lifelike version of Bill Clinton from the 90s. And in that, a lot of people were saying this is the slippery slope. This is not ethical because you're literally recreating someone who is in the public sphere. So therefore, you don't need the rights or sort of sign off because their image is part of the public uh, what's the word I'm trying to use here? It's in the public domain, so therefore people can use it on a regular basis. Now, this is completely different than that, but it's still under that ethical guidelines. Now, I know the SAG-AFTRA president, Sean Astin, has come out because he was asked during an interview, I believe actually at the Oscars, how he felt about this. And he said There are still some unknowns we're still working out, but as long as the family is compensated for the use of his likeness, then we are seeing a little bit of a graying of the area that we do not want studios to go down. Now, this is a one off. This may become a complete unknown, and it could be something that is going to be used more and more often, but it is a test pilot that I think a lot of studios are watching because even James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, has given perpetual use of his voice for AI to Disney to
Mhm.
continue the work that he has done as the voice of Darth Vader. So there is going to be a lot of conversation around this. I don't know what the future has in store. My concern is, and we're already seeing some integration of AI actors and actresses being put into movies because it's a lot easier for them to do that. So where does this go? I don't know, but it is something that we should be watching. And as someone who has
Yeah.
a who produces content for a living, it is something that is kind of scary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we gave Adrian Brody the Oscar last year for The Brutalist, and they used a little bit of AI for his accent. And it's like, it's this really tricky, slippery slope of like, what AI is okay, what AI is not okay. And like, because if someone agrees to it, is it okay? Or is it like with Bill Clinton, like, it's discouraging. You couldn't make a prosthetic work. Like it's people have done it in the past with prosthetics and made things work. Like you just don't look like Bill Clinton. Maybe in that instance, Seth MacFarlane, you and your ego could take a break and we could hire somebody for that role who looks closer to Bill Clinton. So with the prosthetics, it would be like I get it. I get that you wanted to be Bill Clinton for the joke in that moment. You had a specific way you wanted to play that, but like it didn't work.
Yeah.
So you had to use AI. Like, and it did Bill Clinton get compensated for that then? Like, it's just, I don't, the AI conversation is so tricky and nuanced. And like, I
So
don't know
can I
where I
ask a
sit on it.
question? Because
Yeah,
AI, it's the topic of a lot in Hollywood right now. And I know it's apples to oranges a little bit, but I want to play in the field just for a brief second, if you don't mind.
sure.
Is AI becoming something that is talked about on Broadway? Is this something because we're literally seeing a TV show right now being made, written by AI called The Comeback, season 4 of The Comeback, starring Lisa Kudrow, literally is about AI and it's being written by AI. And the show is about a show that is being written by AI to make her come back to Hollywood. Now, are we seeing potential uses of AI being used in music or even the story of a book around Broadway, or is it not there yet?
It's definitely the topic of conversation in the theater community right now. In terms, I just saw a play when I went in February called Data, which was about the usage of AI with immigration technology and how it's not just how it is racist and how it can't discern certain things. And like, so the AI is being used as topics of conversation for material. I'm sure there's people who are writing music and plays and like things for the stage that are specifically being that are using AI. The biggest thing, it's so hard to make stuff work on Broadway that like you can make a really lackluster movie work. We've seen it, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Rebirth being one of them. We've seen some really generic stuff come up and like it's so it's hard with Broadway because you have to get someone to buy into it. And if the material is weak, and a lot of this AI material is weak, you're not gonna, there's only 41 Broadway houses that you could put something in. There's only so many off-Broadway houses. So yes, you might see stuff in like regional theaters and stuff like that, but nothing's really made it past like like a community theater. Like, look at the script I wrote and we used AI and it's great. Like, and also then like AI as a grammar checker. Is that allowed? Like how like I think that AI is so tricky to look at and there's just so much environmental impact that and that like generative AI versus whatever other version of AI is, it's how do you delineate between the two and like what does it mean? And I think it's such a I am not smart enough to really have a strong enough opinion about it because I do not know. I just know with the environmental impact, you will not see me putting my pictures into one of them generative AI things so that I can look like an extra in the Scream series on the bed at Halloween time with a phone in my hand and slap the ghost face in the back, as everyone did. Or me as Mariah Carey in Christmas time. Like, you're never going to see me with these cute little generative AI photos because of the environmental impact. I don't like it. And to be quite honest, it just, I don't like the way they look either. It looks fake. And usually the hands, look at the hands. If you're ever unsure if it's AI, the hands are always weird.
But at the same time, we're afraid to give our likeness away to Facebook and Instagram and X and all that. But yet again, when it comes to AI, everyone will jump on the bandwagon of what doll am I? Make a picture of a doll. I'm like, okay, people, just calm the fudge down. So
Here's
there's my
information about me that's personal and private so that you can make a perfect doll about me. No, baby, just look at my Facebook for 35 seconds. You'll see I like theater. I like movies and I like reading. What more do you need? Like, I'm not, I can't, it's just such a wide, I'm just not smart. I don't understand it. I'm not smart enough. I am man enough to admit I am not smart enough.
Well, if there's ever a time to take a clip of an episode and use it as a preview, that would be it. I'm not man enough. There.
You are disrespectful and churlish.
Well, on Sundays, ABC and Global TV are basically going to be dead air because ABC basically yanked an entire season of The Bachelorette at the last second after a resurfaced video tied to star Taylor Frankie Paul reignited controversy around a past domestic violence case. The wild part is the season was already filmed and was supposed to premiere literally last week. So this wasn't we're rethinking development. This was more everyone showed up to the wedding and then the venue caught fire. ABC said it pulled the season after new footage came out and said it focused on supporting the family involved. What makes it even more reality TV absurd is Taylor Frankie Paul was already a very unconventional pick for Bachelorette, a TikTok and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star, which I did not realize was a TV show until I started reading the story,
Oh, big
which
time.
which is not a traditional Bachelor franchise alum. So ABC tried to do a big swing. And instead, they created the television equivalent of spending millions of dollars on a birthday cake and then dropping it face first in the driveway. Reports say the full season had already been shot, including the ending, and now all those contestants basically went through an entire televised emotional obstacle course for a show nobody may ever see and probably will never see.
Yeah.
That's not finding love, that's unpaid group therapy with better lighting. And honestly, this is devastating for Bachelor Nation because where else are you supposed to watch 25 men in loafers explain their quote, ready to be vulnerable from inside a rented mansion? Somewhere right now, a stack of unused roses is wilting next to a hot tub, and a guy named Braden or Chad or Michael is sadly practicing his limo entrance for absolutely nobody.
Well, they're not
Michael,
practicing. They already did it. They filmed the whole thing. It's done. All the roses were used. It was done. We're just not getting it. I just, how are, why are we not vetting these people?
oh, and
Like,
that's the reason I wanted to bring this up. You're telling me Disney, one of the largest organizations that makes you sign NDA after NDA to appear in a movie, did not do a quick go, I'm going to Google search or an LA just police report search on all the people who are going in because every man who probably entered that mansion probably had their whole life turned upside down before they were able to enter. And they went, she's on TV. We don't need to worry about her. Bull.
like Drag Race had this issue and has had this issue multiple times across their various franchises. Like we had what, 3 years in a row? Somebody get in Australia, the Australia Drag Race, 3 years in a row, contestants flat out on there having past history of doing blackface. And then we found out in the middle of filming, and then like, oh, well, she's first place. She's the contestant that's gonna probably win, so we have to let her stay. Like it's just, I don't understand how we are doing such a poor job with reality TV. This is a constant thing. They just had it with the Love Island. It's like a constant thing. I don't understand how we are not vetting these people better because it's all like that's public knowledge. The first
Yeah.
thing I would do would be like, let me type into every single state to find out your arrest record. Or I'm going to hire somebody to look exclusively at arrest records. Then I'm going to hire somebody to look exclusively at their social media, every single social media. And I'm going to type in specific words and I'm going to read every single post. And I like, I don't understand. Like now we're even seeing Zohran Mamdani's wife is now been accused of social media stuff. And it's like, again, it's like, how are we not, how has that not been figured out already? Like it's, because it takes people 13 and a half seconds on the internet when they suddenly don't like somebody to go and quickly Google it and be like, this you?
Yeah. And literally, we just talked about AI. AI is literally a place where you can go and find this stuff because it is the best way. And I know it's not the best, but it is a way that you could literally Google, put into Chat BT, Cheapy, whatever it is, and literally type it in, and then literally they can spit out search the internet for Chris Brown. Now
Mhm.
the issue is, and I think this is the bigger context, but it's not, like if you type in give me all the information you know about Chris Brown and Calgary, now it's going to pull up Chris Brown's every time he's appeared in Calgary, and it's going to appear things that are going on. So there is some human research you have to do. And
Yep.
Disney did not just wake up one day the day before filming and said we're going to choose her as our bachelorette and she's just going to walk in. This has probably been an ongoing thing for about a year and a half now,
Yeah.
and it's probably been something that they're like, okay, we have to make sure everything's good. And even before they started filming, if you apparently, after doing some research on the old internet and Google, there was reports when she was a star on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives that this was going, some things like this was going on. So it's not like they
Yeah.
did not know. So I kind of don't feel crappy that Disney is out potentially up to $50 million. The unknown that I'm upset about is this is this is just basically tainted the Bachelorette and Bachelor sort of
No, it
whole.
hasn't.
You don't think so?
No, they don't care. It didn't do anything to RuPaul. It doesn't do anything. Like, there's been so many, like, MTV's had this. Like, this is a pretty consistent issue. We get lazy and don't vet. And after so many seasons, we just go, oh, well, it's fine because it's a machine.
Yeah.
The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, the whole Bachelor franchise has been on TV for so long, they can have a oopsie like this. Whereas MTV, their shows, they can't. You get two, three seasons of that. And then if you have an oopsie like this, you're done. And that's where they keep running into it. They're getting lazy earlier, but it's just lazy. It's just lazy. Like
Is the
do the work, do
Bachelorette
the
still,
research.
is this show still popular in the States? Because I don't hear about it
Yes.
much in Canada.
Oh, people love it. They just don't talk about it. Like you don't really talk about it anymore. It's just like with Dancing with the Stars. You watch it, you don't talk about it because the assumption is everyone kind of is. Or like you just go to like the chat forums and whatever. You're not posting it on Facebook like, "Oh my God, I love this." You're going to the Bachelorette groups on Facebook to talk about it. Because now that the groups on Facebook, I don't have to bombard my friends who may not watch it. I might be the only friend that watches it. So let me go into a group and then I can discuss it with other people that watch it and love it as much as me. And you're seeing more of that transition. I keep getting the Wheel of Time groups fed to me because I like the drama. Because the book fans and the TV show fans are not the same. There's no crossover. It is two circles that do not have an intersection of me, other than maybe one or two folks, and they fight. And so I like that drama because I like the TV show, and I read the books and I enjoyed the TV show. The TV show's not great. I enjoyed it till I got further in the books and I went, oh, I see the issue. It's just poorly created. I don't hate it for the reasons other people do. I have no issue with, it not being all white folk, but that's neither here nor there. Um,
So can I ask
I,
because
yeah,
you brought up RuPaul Drag Race, and which is
yeah,
understandable. It's happened a few times. Love Island's happened. Now these are shows that premiered and actually showed the entire season. Now they
yeah.
did some for RuPaul's Drag Race. I think they did something at the beginning of episode 3 once literally everything started to come to light, and we're going to donate the if she wins for that it would be Sherry Pie. If she won, then they would get like $5,000 to the Trevor Project or whatever
Yeah.
project it was. I don't know exactly what it was. Now, this season has been fully recorded. The winner has been chosen. They have basically admitted it is sitting there on a shelf collecting dust right now. Do you think ABC will release this sometime, or do you think this is going to be so locked because Disney has that persona around it? It has to look like it's a family friendly, and if it does release this, that could taint that uh, idea of what ABC is.
So if correct me if I'm wrong, she was the one woman and it was 25 dudes trying to get with her, right?
Yes, The
That's why she
Bachelorette.
was this. Yeah,
Yes,
she was the central focal point. That's why. You will never see it because she, who is the one with these
she is
issues,
in every single episode, every single scene,
well, and
probably.
they're all trying to win her. They're all
Yeah.
trying to get with her. So like, yes, she is the one person. Whereas with Sherry Pie, she was a contestant of 12, 13, 14, and they edited her out. With Love Island, they quite literally took the girl and removed her from the competition because it was filming while it was airing, or I believe something like that. So with this situation, there's no you quite literally have to edit her out completely, which you can't do because it's all about trying to win her love. So it's going to sit somewhere and never get used.
And if it's just a group of 25 men sitting around in a hot tub, that's another movie that I could probably describe, but I'm not going to because we're a family friendly show here.
Ay, Dios mío.
Okay. Before we move on, I want to just interject here for a second because Disney has a major shakeup in the last few days. Bob Iger is out as the CAO, and this literally controversy dropped on the brand new CAO's lap within the first 5 seconds of his CAO-ship, and he had to make the decision. I forget his name, but he was the CAO of the Disney parks, which was the one who overlooked and oversaw all the parks and all the development and all the rides, blah, 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 and how much it costs to go there. Disney is entering a new era. Were you an Iger fan, if you don't mind me asking, or were you not?
I like Tiger.
I
I
love.
see. I don't.
I just read his book. I literally just read his book about 2 days ago, and that's why the only reason I'm talking about it is because I think it was a fantastic book, and I think it's a way that I'm looking at the business community in a little bit of a different light than I was 3 days ago from time of recording this.
Yeah, he's a CEO. I don't. I can't. Like, I just cool. Like, it's like when people are like, "Who's your favorite like business?" Like, I don't have a like. It's fine. Like, I don't have a
You
favorite like that. I can't like.
okay, AOC and Bernie Sanders.
Somebody get me a Karl Marx book. Somebody get me the Karl Marx.
So I want to turn to our last subject before we turn to our
Yeah.
viewer slash listener mail. Mail. Wow, I'm having a hard time speaking today. Louis Theroux apparently wandered into the manosphere, which is basically the internet's latest fun escape room. A bunch of guys with podcast microphones. Ironic that we're talking about that on a podcast, literally with two microphones. LED lighting. I don't have that. I think you do. And unshakable confidence of men who read half asleep self-help quote and declared themselves philosophers. The BBC slash Netflix piece asks whether his documentary actually changed anyone's mind. And the answer seems to be, well, maybe for some. A few people looked up from their algorithms for 5 seconds or the full hour long documentary, but mostly the manosphere remains what it has always been, a very loud place where bad opinions are treated like bench press records. What Thoreau seems to have done, though, well, is make the whole thing look exactly as awkward, brittle, and deeply weird as the manosphere is. Viewers have been commenting on the documentary saying it showed how these influencers profit from outrage, push more extreme content to feed the algorithm, and get very uncomfortable the moment real women or real life enters the chat. In other words, it's less intellectual movement and more what if insecurity got a ring light and a subscription model. So the big takeaway is that the documentary may not have magically deprogrammed the internet's angriest podcast bros, but it did shine a light on how the whole ecosystem works. Rage, clicks, money, and repeat, which honestly is useful because nothing ruins a grift faster than turning on the house lights and realizing the alpha male empire is mostly just folding tables, affiliated links, and a man yelling into the Shure microphone about quote unquote modern society. Now, Michael, before this, you said, "What are you talking about? Why are we talking about this?" Now, I watched the Netflix documentary because I think Louis Theroux is a fantastic interviewer. I think he has a way to just shut the heck up and just let someone hang themselves with the little rope that he provides. But the bigger context of this conversation that I wanted to have with you is, can a documentary actually change minds into a world that is sort of up and coming when our algorithms are just so powerful on social media?
No, firmly, emphatically no. Because the people who need to watch this aren't going to watch it, and the folks that are that the folks whose algorithm is getting these alpha male. I'm going to put that in air quotes because I think the whole term is ridiculous. Um, the folks that are getting this are impressionable children who are young men, usually middle school, high school, as they're coming on social media in this modern world and being like, well, why not me? Why not me? Why am I being pushed out? And there, so it's playing to that. And as much I saw, because I watched the trailer after you mentioned it, and I just they even say they go, you're playing it to. He says at one point to one of them, you're making videos for children, and they're like, no, we're not. Like they know 100% what they're doing. That's where their bag is coming from. Their money is coming from the kids watching it and the clicks and the reviews. So we're creating an angry base, which is why we're seeing such violence happening in the schools. I don't think it's going to change anything because the folks that need to watch this aren't going to. The folks that
So
are going to watch it are going to shout on social media in an echo chamber saying, "Oh my God, you have to watch this. This is what's happening to our youth. We have to, this is so important." Yes, it is. You are watching it though, they're not. The people that need to watch it aren't. And that seems to be the common thing. The folks that need to watch something or need to consume something are not even getting it fed in their algorithm because it's so outside the norm of thinking. And the algorithm just wants to feed you things that you like to keep you on whatever platform you're looking at.
so in Canada, this documentary has kind of blown up. A lot of people have been talking about it. Literally, I was just at an event about 2 days ago. Well, what day is it? Monday. So last week sometime, as of recording last week. And this was the topic of conversation. And the one sort of overarching theme that I kept on hearing from people talking about this is American culture 101. Now, in Canada, we are seeing the rise of this sort of right wing bro culture, alpha, quote unquote, male mentality. But in the States, this has been going on for some time now. It's not like it just woke up one day and this is the documentary that is finally shining a light. We have seen time and time again where podcasters and influencers are becoming, quote unquote, alpha males. In as the token American in our podcast here, do you think that this is a representative of what American online culture has become over the last few years?
I mean, new terms, same situation. I think not necessarily America, but like before social media, before the internet, frats existed. They're doing the same things, saying the same things, believing the same things that these people are. Like, not all frats. I'm not saying every single frat. So, but like a majority, hazing was a thing, is still a thing. Like, isn't it like Iowa just had a massive hazing sting happen on at one of their frats? Like, there's tons and tons of like this has always been a thing. This is why the patriarchy exists, and we can dive down that massive rabbit hole as well. But I don't necessarily think it's exclusively American. I think Americans are the loudest in telling about and liking to talk about how correct they are and how important and self-involved they are. And I think that's a very common thing for Americans. But I think in terms of like this alpha male mentality, I think it's across the board. I think it's in Europe. I think it's in Canada. It's everywhere. I mean,
But
machismo
it's
is a
not as
massive.
prominent in those places, right? Like, okay, Andrew Tate would probably be the unknown in this scenario because Andrew Tate is not I think he lived in
He's not
America.
allowed in the US. He will get arrested for multiple sexual assault
Okay,
allegations.
but
So he is
he
in a
was
country.
yeah, he lives in like the Czech Republic or some country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with
Yep.
America. But we do see some influencers, but it is more prominently becoming an American thing. More and more of these people are setting up shop in America because there's a, I don't want to say a breeding ground, but there seems to be a moment right now, and I'm trying to skirt around the word without saying the word, with what's going on at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. More and more people feel that they can be this quote unquote self-help guide to every man's issue because we have someone in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who wants to do that.
Yes, but I think just blaming it solely on America is short-sighted because I'm not getting this fed to me. I'm not getting any of this. You said the manosphere, and I said, I don't even know what that is. I've had to have Andrew Tate explain to me about 5 times, so I don't get any of this content fed to me.
Okay.
As I'm assuming you also are not getting this content fed to you. You're
I
barely on
literally
social media to begin with.
literally watched the Netflix documentary, and my I went on Facebook like a few weeks ago, and I was just scrolling. Literally post dog photos. That's all I post on social media. It's like, here's my puppies. Look how cute they are. And then like every fourth post now is about this online influencer trying to push. I don't know, some miracle cure for weight loss on me. And I'm like, what is this? You're like 15 years old. You look like a twig. How do you know about weight loss? So, but okay, you tell me about that. And then I go click block.
Yeah, I have a really difficult time with this is exclusively an American founded, grounded, bred issue when this has been across the world for centuries an issue. Misogyny, patriarchy, they exist and they have existed
Yeah.
before the United States was even a country in way more severe terms than they were now. Granted, I'm not even saying that this is like the best version. It's just not as we're not trying people and hanging them for witches because a woman knew something. Like it is vocal and again, this is Americans wanting to be loud and wanting to be right and being kind of like that centrist, like, oh my God, we're the center of the world. We're the world power because as an American, that's what we are taught in schools that the minute World War I ended, we were a world power. The minute World War II ended, it was us and Russia, and we were the world powers. And that, like, it's this mindset that's been fed into, but it's also not exclusively American. I think it is Americans the loudest, but I think if you really just strip away the American piece of it, it goes much deeper across every country. And it's being funneled and fed by organizations and groups because they want to stay in power. And this is the way you can stay in power because white man is an important demographic to win elections, is an important demographic to maintain power.
Well, it is going to be an issue that is ongoing, and it's going to be, I don't want to say fun, but it's going to be interesting to watch this continue to
Yeah.
blow up and become a bigger and bigger issue. And that is it. But we're going to first turn to our viewer slash listener mayor. If we had the rights to actual good music, we'd put in a good music, but I have to do it myself. So, oh, the music is playing right now, and the viewer listener questions come from you. So,
Wow. Did AI write that?
you know it. Now, our question comes from Jacob from Colchester County, Nova Scotia. Hi, Mike and Chris. First time writer. I think I speak for all of Canada when I ask this question. What are your top three Catherine O'Hara performances? Now, we did not plan this out beforehand, but last episode we wanted to dive into the Catherine O'Hara passing, but unfortunately we took it up with a lot of the topic around the Oscars, so this is the perfect time to do that. So, Michael, before you get to your top three, what did Catherine O'Hara mean to you?
She's always been a brilliant performer. I mean, I grew up watching Home Alone at Christmas time. Like, she's always been like, someone said it best on social media. She was like the mother of the millennial generation because we watched the movie. That's like one of everybody's favorite Christmas movies. And like, we grew up with her. Calm down,
No
simmer
comment.
down.
I didn't say a thing. I did not say a thing.
Simmer down. Even though she's not winning Mother of the Year in Home Alone, she was America's mother. I mean,
Or Home Alone 2.
also she's not winning awards. We love her. She ain't winning awards for motherhood. Even Beetlejuice, she ain't winning awards for motherhood. Like I adore her. She's always been great. I've been looking at a lot of her movies, a lot of her best stuff I've not seen.
Yeah.
So like
There's a
I
lot of
just
movies that I didn't realize she was actually in, to be honest, because
yeah.
I thought she was more of a TV/comedy, but then you go, oh, she did a lot of voice acting here. And
Yep.
when I was trying to think of my top three, there was a lot that I could have picked in, but I kept on going back and forth. So we'll go in descending order. So three, two, one, as we always do. So for yourself, Michael, what was your number three performance for Catherine O'Hara?
Beetlejuice. Mine are gonna be real basic. I'm gonna be honest with you, because like I haven't seen a lot of her like Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show. I've not seen those. That whole like I was born in 92. Have not watched them. They're on the list. Every time I mention I've not seen one, 100 people look at me and say, "You're terrible. You need to watch them. You like movies. You're a terrible person for not knowing these." So I know I'm awful. I just I just haven't seen it. So my number three has to be Beetlejuice, though.
So my number three, and yes, I did watch most of this because I'm not a child of the 90s, unlike some people on this show. I would say
Guilty.
my number three performance, and it was a group of performances because she was SCTV. She was Second City Television, based out of Toronto, where the greats like Eugene Levy, Martin Short, Andrea Murphy, John Candy all came up from. But Catherine O'Hara was the quintessential part of that show that made it so fantastic. So for me, number three has to go to every single episode, every single performance, every single skit she did on SCTV. But that's just, again, my number three. And yes, I do go a little bit more in depth than Michael because I have seen most of her work. As a fellow Canadian, of course, I would see most of her work. For you, Michael, number two.
Dramatic, so dramatic. Home Alone. Again, one of my favorite Christmas movies. I do try and watch it every year. I'm a big Macaulay Culkin fan. I'm a big fan of the Culkins as a whole, both him and Kieran. Love them both. It's such a great film, and she's so funny in it. She's great.
Mine has to be Best in Show for number two. And I know you did not see it, but I really recommend that you do watch Best in Show
I
because
know.
her and Eugene Levy married together is the quintessential just how I feel my marriage to my husband is. Because literally they have a little puppy and it is the weirdest thing. And Catherine O'Hara, for those who have not seen the show, she has a insatiable drive for the company of other men. So it is hilarious to boot, and I would recommend it to anyone who has not seen it. Christopher Guest film, which is Jamie Lee Curtis. Christopher Guest has done amazing movies like This Is Spinal Tap, The Mighty Wind. There are countless movies where Christopher Guest gives great directing and great writing, and Catherine O'Hara is in, I would say, about the majority of his films, and I would recommend that you watch Best in Show before you watch A Mighty Wind. Mighty Wind is not the best, but Best in Show is number two for me.
I've been
Okay,
told I need to start with Waiting for Guffman. That's the one I apparently need to start with. I've been told because of my background in theater that I know I'm going to love them and I know I'm going to dive down that rabbit hole. It's just finding the time to dive down that rabbit hole.
so I think with the way that we're going already, I think our number ones are the exact same. I would
Schitt's
put
Creek.
exactly Schitt's Creek. Why is Schitt's Creek the best performance of Catherine O'Hara, Michael?
It's just so nuanced. The writing is really well done, and she just goes for it. Like they clearly all were having such a good time. They all had great chemistry because her and Eugene have worked together for so long. They just they click and they know comedy and they know what works and what they can do to riff off of each other. It just was a brilliantly executed show, and it's because the cast was so well connected with each other and so willing to just do it, do the crazy thing. And she's always willing to do the crazy thing, not just Schitt's Creek, but across the board. And it's just, you don't always see that. You see a lot of hesitancy in some comedic performances, but with her, she doesn't. She does not hesitate. She goes for it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well, I tried it. We can cut it on the cutting room floor. And that's why you get such wacky, zany comedy from her. And I'm so curious to see what is on the cutting room floor for some of these things, which is also probably so far out there it just didn't work for a general audience, but it probably was hysterical.
My number one is the same, Schitt's Creek. I think she gave a quintessential what Canadian performance comedy is, and it literally showed the best talent that
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara has ever done. Every movie, every show that she has ever been was encapsulated within those 6 seasons. Now, there is one honorable mention I want to mention here for a second, because it's not a performance, it's an award show. Now, it's been making the rounds on social media a lot in the last few weeks after her passing. I'm not sure if it was the Emmys after the Emmys that she had won, but she went up and had to give the best performance of an actress in a comedy series. And she walks up and she starts reading the names. Then, after she reads the names, it says, "Do we really have to give one award?" And then she starts ripping up the envelope, and everyone starts looking at her like this is real life and this is happening. And then she goes, "Yes, unfortunately, we do." And she pulls the actual envelope. That is quintessential. And I say that a lot, but that is Catherine O'Hara, even in the most weirdest, unassumed time. You're like, oh God, this is going on. And then you're like, okay, she dragged me along, and the punchline was
Yeah.
better because of it. And that was Catherine O'Hara. The punchline was better because of her. Michael, this has been fun.
It's been real great.
Jacob, thank you so much for your question. If you do have any other questions, please send them to us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to also talk about the issues that are going on in the entertainment industry that you want us to talk about. And just like that, the curtain falls on another episode of No, Not Them. That's entertainment. No, I did that wrong. It's That's Entertainment with No, Not Them. But okay, we're just doing it live as we normally do. Now, if this conversation and this episode sparked something in you, made you laugh, made you think, or even made you think about the entertainment world a little bit differently, then we've set out to do exactly what we've done today. The show is about stories behind the spotlight, the real conversations that shape the industry, and the passion that keeps it all moving forward. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, take a moment and leave us a review. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcast, or even on Spotify, or check your local listings as well. Your support helps us keep the conversation going and bring even more great, incredible voices and great, incredible stories like you heard today to the table. It truly does make a difference. Now, if you are an artist, performer, creator, or someone working behind the scenes in the wild, wonderful world of entertainment, we want to hear from you. So head over to crossbordernetwork.ca and click on the Join the Show page, and you can join the show and talk about the entertainment industry from your perspective. Reach out to us today. Let's talk, share your journey, and explore the industry together right here on That's Entertainment. So until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and remember, the show doesn't stop here on That's Entertainment with No, Not Them. I'm Christopher Brown, and
I'm Michael Nichols.